For a long time, minorities were not really allowed in luxury spaces, and if they were in them, then the voices weren't necessarily celebrated. I'm now in a position to come from a place of experience and knowing how to navigate what luxury means and how to present that in a very tactile form.
She has ideas, and those ideas are explosive.
I have realized that I can create the world that I want to see. I'm in the driver's seat of my entire experience. Hey, how's it going? Good. Thanks for all your help. You're amazing. I am. My name is Brenda Equihua, and we are in my studio where all the magic happens. I grew up in Santa Barbara to immigrant parents. They were living in Mexico at the time, and she was pregnant and decided I really want to give my child the opportunity to grow up in the States. So she crossed the border like 3 days before I was born so that I could make my dreams come true. My mom was always a very strong woman and a very good parent. She didn't have a school education, like her education was life. So she just spent a lot of time nurturing us and like teaching us how to treat ourselves and treat each other. And a lot of those sort of teachings were infused with folklore. Culturally, like that's how stories got passed down. So that sort of mysticism and mystery element has really impacted like how I see things and how I work. I really treasure this shot and like the aura of who she is here. She looks so glam. Specifically because she's wearing such a fun novelty coat, it kind of makes me feel like I came full circle into this photo because that's sort of what I'm doing now.
I've been wanting to work with her for a while. And then during the pandemic, she's like, what am I gonna do? No one's able to come to the office. I can't be around people. We were like, you have time to teach me. People are picking up hobbies. So while people were learning how to bake homemade bread, I was learning how to cut cobija.
Pouring a lot of love into something and then seeing how all of that love has an actual impact on the end result. I was always very drawn to luxury because of that. So all of the experiences that I had working for design companies here in Los Angeles, where I was very hands-on, I really liked the rituals of making beautiful clothes. And I think that that's because I grew up with a lot of rituals. Having that eye and that training has been a very key part of making these kind of clothes so they're taken serious. That's not a part of myself that I can untrain, nor do I want to. I just have these standards because that's what I believe in. I have a lot of respect for the people who support my brand. To me, they're not just consumers because they're helping me also to live out my dream. So that love has to come back into what we do. One of the coolest ways we found community was when we had like a French designer that was like ripping us off on the runway. It just became this moment that could have been sort of intimidating, but I feel like I found my power in that moment. And I had not only the support of my community, but Princess Nokia was in Paris and she wore one of the jackets that I had sent her like months before. And it just so happened that that was a day that she wore our jacket and tagged us. And like we had all these people from her page like come and support us and like really give us the love and really have our back. And I feel like the people who follow the brand are so loyal. It's really kind of incredible. So I'm very careful about the energy that I put out there because it's just like becomes a swarm, you know?
There's a lot of people starting their own businesses or their art or whatever that are feeling the passion. And I think people are sick and tired of being exploited, having their talent stolen. I feel like people are more aware of it now, especially with how big social media is. You see it in action and it aggravates you because you're like, that could be me.
When I started exploring with the blankets, I had realized that I was not happy with the way that I was working. I was working under the same rules that I had been when I was a professional, just trying to create my vision within that box. And then I realized I have my own brand. I don't need to do that. I can be the person that decides what I want to put out into the world. What I like about the next gen Integra is that it's touchscreen and it's made for an on-the-go person and experience. And I like that I can access Alexa and listen to my favorite music. We are in downtown LA, my work hood. We're like in the heart of Fashion District. There's a lot of beautiful energy here. Everyone is doing something. Everyone's on the grind. It's sort of like the movie Aladdin. There's like a lot of vendors, a lot of noise, a lot of things going on. And the Flower District is down here. I love the Flower District because there's just a lot of beauty and flowers, and I like that they represent different moments in our lives. They sort of touch on the nuances of life and the highs and the lows, because flowers are something that you receive when you're in love or out of friendship, but they're also used during a time of mourning or remembering, and I think that that's really beautiful. Being in the area just really reminds me to feel more alive, you know, to remember, to be present. Hola, ¿cómo están? ¿A qué hora cierran hoy? ¿Ya van a cerrar? ¿Qué es que ahorita ya como a las qué? 6:30 o 7? Okay. What it was like when I first brought the hoodie into life was kind of a nightmare, because I was basically going around asking people to sew a blanket into a hoodie, and I was met with a lot of resistance. People didn't understand what I was doing, specifically under my standards that I had. So I found a way to make that work by massaging other garments into it. So just started developing a relationship with things that are easier to sew and develop a level of trust with who I was working with. I'd say the event that happened that really catapulted it into the limelight was the Vogue write-up of the launch of these pieces. It just was a really great story and great visual to share with the world, and it allowed a lot of people to see where there was room for growth and room for opening the door a little bit more for people that are like us.
I'm really proud of her, because if you saw the resources she had to work with, you would be like, how? How did you go to college with your tanda, which is like a community loan, basically. She was in New York before she was 17, you know, on her own, never been there. She went to this like prestigious school and graduated with no money. And then she comes out and she has the audacity to build this brand that's like not at the regular level that, you know, people of like her, you know, culture, background are supposed to do.
I hope that people who look like me and are like me are watching the way that people like me are moving in these spaces and are inspired to really go out there and live their dreams. Integrity is about knowing who you want to be in the world and operating from that frequency always. To just be able to live your life in the most authentic way possible is the biggest luxury you can have.